remember this number, which is 10, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, sorry. It is 10 plus 15 plus, not plus. Just want to write this. Okay, now do it in our R programming language. Just wanna, yeah, do it like this. So, guys, can you guess how we can find our mode in our programming language? Any guesses? Mode function? No, unfortunately, there is no mode function. There is no built-in mode function in our programming language. So that's why we need to write our own function. So first of all, let's create our variable. Let's call it y. And let's write our numbers, which is 10, 15, 12, that's 15, 10, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, again 18, 19, 19, 19. So you can see by your own eyes that what's motive. But if you have more than 100 values, how you can find it? So let's do it with this function, which is called, let's write names, open the parentheses, sort, and again open the parentheses, negative sign, table. Let's assign our variable y, and let's put 3 parentheses and 1. Here 19. This is our function to find mode. You can copy and paste this function, and also you can find more than this value, this function to find mode here, but it's better to use this simple and very convenient way to find the function. Now let's go back to our whiteboard. We have finished with mode. Now let's back to our another function, another things, range. Let's go. Let's keep this because I don't want to again write same thing again and again. So first is range. Do you know what's range? Yes, range is equal to maximum values minus minimum values. Here in our dataset, if you want to find range, you can see that the maximum value here is 19 and the minimum value here is 10, which is going to be 9. Sometimes they can ask question which is related to range in SAT exam, which is very important to know what's range, because sometimes they give the dataset with missing values X and say that if the range of this function, this dataset, sorry, is, for example, 4, is, for example, let's say 4. So what can be the values of, let's say, X? and so the other things. And if you don't know what's the range and how to calculate the range, you will lose the point. So this is our range. We just find it's 9. So let's do it. We can find the range with R. So do you think we have range function? I don't know, guys, do we have range function or not? But I know how to calculate the range. But let's check it. Do we have range function or not? Let's check it. This first time I just check. Let's just write range. Oh, I just put, yeah, range is 9, 10. When we just go write range, it gives us the minimum value and maximum value of this data set. And when you subtract them, you will find our range, which adds in SAT exams. But if you just don't want to lose to subtract, so you just use this. Let's call it range is equal to. You know that in SAT, we have max function and minimum function in order to find maximum and minimum value of the function. So I just use max y minus minimum y. Then let's find range, which is 9. Exactly. We just find our result. It's 2 lines of the code, and here just 1 line of the code. So guys, it is how we just find range here. Now let's back to again our whiteboard, sorry. We just find our range. So we have talked about range. Now last one of the last two is standard deviation. What's standard deviation, guys? There's a standard deviation formula, which is really annoying formula you will see in universities. Let me just write this standard deviation formula, which is under the square root, sum of which is equal to n to n, here x I minus x squared divided by n minus 1. So what does they mean? So here x bar shows us the mean, and n here shows number of observation. Here, guys. So, but fortunately, we don't need to find standard deviation. But what are we gonna do with the standard deviation? So, the first things we need to remember in our mind that if we talk about standard deviation, we need to the definition of outlier, which is very important to know. Outlier. Outliers are numbers are higher or lower than other numbers. So significantly higher or significantly lower than the other numbers. And if we have more these outliers, we have higher standard deviation. It means that if numbers are more spread out from standard deviation, it means that it has higher standard deviation. For example, Let me just erase this part because I don't need this function. I just write two data sets. Let's say data set 1 and data set. Let me just press different pen. Data set 2. So what do you think? Like we have 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is our first data set. And we have 1, 10, thirteen, 14, and 100. So which of them has highest standard deviation? Any guesses? Yes, this is our this has higher standard deviation because this number are higher standard deviation. And sometimes the data set a can give in a like table, like this table. Let me just draw two tables. Like first table, just erase this part. Again, this is our first table. And second table. You can just write this. It's very bad. So here we have number and we have frequency. Let's say we have, just draw another because it's bad. Very bad tables, but so we have like 5, 9, 10, and 35. And we again same number. Say it's frequency 2, 2, 2, and we have frequency again 2. But we have 2, 2, 2, and we have frequency 5. So guys, what do you think? Which has higher frequency and number are same? Any guesses? Exactly. This second table has higher standard deviation. Because if the frequency of outliers are higher, it means that it has higher standard deviation. This question I only asked about this. And if you increase the number of outliers or if you increase the value of outlier, the standard deviation is increasing. Always remember that. Let's do it in our R programming language. So guys, can you guess how can you think we can find standard deviation in our R programming language? Let's try. Yes, we can find our standard deviation, but we don't have to. Do we have to find standard deviation in our, because if we're going to be a statistician in the future, we want to, so you need to know, that we calculate standard deviation in our programming language. And also we can write our tables, like let's just create our numbers, because let's just write our A. I will just want to show you something real quick. So we have 5, 5, 9.